and welcome to the Real Show celebratory interviews where we're celebrating people who are growing, creating, and accomplishing things in the middle of a pandemic. And this has been a year, all kinds of things have happened, ups, downsides, all everything went awry. But in the middle of all of that, there are some amazing people putting forth some amazing things. And I'm so glad I get the opportunity to find out more about what people are doing. It's inspiring to me, especially as an entrepreneur, to meet so many people who are doing great things. And I know this young lady is doing great things as well. So put your hands together for Zaakirah. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Lisa.
Whoop, whoop. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Zaakirah. My name is Arabic for the hereafter, the afterlife. And I am a photographer. I'm a cancer survivor, but I'm also a creative strategist. So I have utilized my story, which I was basically saved by a photograph and then later introduced to a camera by the age of 5. And now, after being a professional photographer for over 10 years, I help other creative entrepreneurs to tell their stories visually and step outside of their own comfort zone. And so later that also transferred over to marketing services because I had to not only teach myself, but this was when Facebook was just coming out. So now I think most people really know me for teaching them about social media and how to use it and tell their story and, grow their brand. So it's exciting to be living a life full of creativity.
That is exciting because as a creative, like we're always creating, like we're always thinking about ways to do things and ways we can do it better and also connecting with people who see things that we can't see. Because then there's just all kinds of extra creativity.
Exactly.
So, Zakira, what are we celebrating for you?
Well, I guess I could say that I've taken many, many leaps. Um, Most of them, I think 2020 was definitely the year of boundary setting. I'll say that. But
Okay.
I've taken many, many leaps as well. And I think the biggest one is um, just being able to pivot ways to get my book and the brand of my book out there. So I am also an author of a memoir called Seeing Life Through a Different Lens, a survivor's memoir on overcoming adversity with resilience. And it's funny because there was a point, maybe 3 to 6 months, where I did not have clients, right? So it's like, okay, now is a great time to focus on my own brand because technically we get so focused on our clients and making sure that
Mm-hmm.
their brands look good, we neglect our own. And so this allowed plenty of time to then pivot in a sense of, okay, where do I want this book to go beyond the book?
Mm-hmm.
So I started working on a journal. It's coming soon. But I did get to rename my own podcast. I had started podcasting in 2018, but I had a different name. And so now the podcast is called See Life Different. Now it can be more on the themes of what the book is about. And then I also took a bigger leap and launched my own summit. Um, so I had a virtual summit that was basically a celebration of the podcast. So I
Mm-hmm.
had about 10 returning speakers and then 10 new speakers. So that was fun. And it was mainly on the theme of how to really tell your own story. Because I think that's the gist of marketing. That's the gist of uh, photography, storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it really became to be. I think just I'm pretty proud of myself for just actually taking action. Because I think for me as a creative, I'll say, oh, I have this idea, this bubble in my head all day, every day. But have I done anything towards it? No. So that was great. I feel like that's a good pat on my back for that. So.
And that's awesome because it's hard to put on conferences and summits, whether in person or virtually, like, because it's all of the unknown things, it's like, you have something that you want people to tie into, and it's great, not just because you've made it, although, it's pretty great because you made it, but, that people will connect to it. They just need to connect to it, link in, tie in, come on, come on over here, I got some great stuff. But the whole process can be scary. So woohoo, kudos to you for all of those things, and rebranding and pivoting your podcast. And I'm excited about the podcast game kind of stepping up holistically. I've been in radio for over 20 years, and so I love the medium of radio, and podcasting to me is just an extension of that. And being able to create atmospheres for people, you can't see what's happening because it's usually audio. So how do you draw people in? How do you engage them? And it's, through telling stories. And that's exactly, what you're doing, and helping people tell them more effectively, which is really, really awesome. So yay.
Yeah, thank you. And I think that's super important too that you mentioned that podcasting is audio. Podcasting is, I think, what I define. If I were to explain it to those who are older than me, like what's a podcast? I'm like, it's your own NPR radio, your own radio show.
Mhm.
Um, but I think I've also uh, I like seeing the direction that it's going of kind of full circle of podcast can still be video.
Right.
People still love to see and feel virtual energy. So the fact that videos are coming back out and people can grow and monetize from their YouTube or monetize from their own community and still feel like they know someone because of the many videos out there, I think is a great thing.
Yeah, and that's why really I did it both ways, because I don't mind audio, but I know people are looking to see something. Plus, it helps out with the algorithm on social media. So, hey, we'll have a video too. You can listen in your car, or you can watch it when you get home. We
Hmm.
we want people to have options over here.
Right, right.
So, in all of the pivoting and shifting that you've done over the last year, did you see yourself doing any of these things pre-COVID, pre-pandemic?
So I think that's the amazing thing about God is like he'll give you these visions, but won't tell you when or how or why. So
Yep.
it's like for me, I I knew that this was meant to be for me. I
Hmm.
just didn't know when, I didn't know how, I didn't know why. So the fact that it happened during the pandemic, the fact that it happened shortly after I got divorced, the fact that it happened shortly after I left two jobs, no, I didn't see any of this happen. Um, but the fact that it did happen when it did happen, I'm glad.
And what's amazing to me is that out of, and I think it's just kind of a testament to the strength of people of purpose, when you go through certain situations that you didn't even think you would experience before, something amazing comes out of that you didn't even think could even happen for you in this way. You didn't think that this set of circumstances would lead to the greatness that it has. And I think, you know, because I was divorced, I've been divorced as well. And it I never saw that coming. I never thought it would be a thing. And out of it, I've realized some things about me, and relearning who I am, and walking fully, more fully in purpose, on purpose, and not being distracted by certain things. I'm still a mother, still a full-time entrepreneur, and I've got things going, but it's one of those things that you don't expect, but it's the greatest unexpected thing ever. Um,
Exactly. And even for me, like before marriage, I was technically a full-time entrepreneur, even though I was kind of contracted out,
mhm,
to work at other studios and work with other creative firms. I was an entrepreneur. I would still have my own schedule for the most part. Um, and so that the thing about divorce is in the middle of a pandemic, it does help you to reevaluate of what was good and what wasn't,
mhm,
so remembering that, I really got jobs while I was married, for that sense of stability.
right.
But where my heart really lies is the entrepreneurship, creative entrepreneurship, being able to not necessarily dibble and dabble, but do marketing, podcasting, writing, photography, the whole bit. Anything that allows me to connect with people one on one, and use it as a way to tell stories. I think that's been the thing of like the fact that I can tell my own story. I've healed or working on it, and I can
Right.
now tell my own story and help others to do the same. So yeah.
So, what was your greatest hurdle in accomplishing all of these things, and how did you overcome
Um, can we say financial hurdles?
it? Yeah, listen, that. Woo.
So it's like you could have crazy strong faith, the faith of a very strong or small mustard seed, but I think there was a quote that floated on social media that God did not check your bank account. He knows what's in your bank account and what isn't. So it's
Mhm.
like how far are you willing to go? How much faith are you willing to keep? So I feel like that could have been the biggest hurdle because I mean, like I said, when with having no job, there was a level of comfort. Like, okay, I can put a portion of this paycheck toward the business, or I can
Right.
put a portion of the paycheck, to getting my book out there or whatever. So knowing that that was not necessarily no longer an option. I just had to find another way. I
Right.
think that was pretty challenging because then it had me realizing my own money relationship, my own money
Mhm.
languages as well. So yeah.
Absolutely. Listen, I spoke with um a financial expert here not too long ago, and just hearing her story about that, and realizing how I view money and how I viewed it even in terms of my business, and being also part of the mastermind. Shout out to Tamiya Covenant for the Momentum Mastermind, and making us read stuff that challenges how I view money. Uh, but it's making me um, to understand, like, why I thought a certain way and how I need to change that thinking, so that as an entrepreneur, I'm doing what I need to do, and not just, you know, oh, I don't need it, or oh, this is just what I do. No, no, sis. I just bought a house. I just bought a car. My kid needs stuff, and I need to live. So yes, these are my prices. Thank you so much. Paid in full. Amen. So but I think the pandemic too has forced us to kind of look at those things a lot harder, because a lot of the streams of income dried up, slowed down to a little trickle, and we had to get creative, which is why I created this in the first place, so that we could showcase. We were hearing so much bad news, so many things are going on. People were really trying to figure it out, and so let's share some stories of what people are doing and how they're doing it and how they're shifting. So, yeah, and it's been great, because it's really um it's helped me. Uh, when I was in a place like, what am I going to do? Let me talk to some people who are doing stuff, and just showing me what people have, like, learned about themselves in the process, learned about their money, learned about their business. And so, my question to you is, what have you learned about yourself in this process?
Um, I've started to recite a lot more affirmations. So I think reciting those affirmations just helped me to remember who I was, right?
Mhm.
Remember just how resilient I am, how intelligent I am, how creative I am, um, but also how professional I am. I mean, there've been some situation when the opportunities would fall through, but it's the way they fell through, and I'm just like me with my level of integrity, I would never do that. You know,
Mm.
so I think just realizing, and maybe also um, there's learning and accepting that there's a difference between cheap and expensive, right? So most people, what they define as expensive is not the same thing as expensive as someone else. And so for
Right.
me, being a cancer survivor, being someone who was used to a certain lifestyle before I even got married, I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not expensive. I'm not. I have I have expenses that
Right.
require me to um, stay healthy, stay happy, stay alive. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think just kind of remembering who I was, right? I think we lose track of that when us women dive head first sometimes into these relationships, and we just focus on them. So
Right.
and then we're finally pulling our head up out of the water. We're like, so yeah,
But that, eh, and I attribute most of that as women anyway to the type of beings that we are, the nurturers that we are, that we're like the support, but we're also, you okay? We're gonna help you, build you up, and kind of lose ourselves in the melee. Um, and until one day we're like, who is this? This is not who we're supposed to be. So then we do the work to get back to who we were created to be. And I'm glad that you're in that space. I'm glad that we're in that space to really continue to walk out who we have been created to be.
yes,
So
man.
I have one last question. What encouragement would you give to someone who might be struggling right now?
Keep going, keep putting the head down and doing the work. Because I think when you really look back, or even along the way, write out the good things that happened. Because when you look back, you'll realize just how far you come. And so I think we get so caught up in being in the future and not being where we want to be, or not being where we know God wants us to be, that we're get bummed out by not being there yet. So keep doing the work, but celebrate your small wins along the way.
Absolutely. That's great advice. Great advice. We were supposed to talk about something else in this interview, but I forgot.
I feel like because yeah, you mentioned Tamiya Covenant. I feel like I just feel like mentioning Tamiya Covenant again because she has been amazing during the pandemic as well. I think at the start of that pandemic is when she afforded me the opportunity to speak into her platform, because she
Hmm.
in her platform she allowed other photographers. Well, previously, I don't know about too much now, but she allowed other photographers to teach a course on their expertise, and so that was our first time really connecting. And then second, she pivoted to a virtual conference, which
Hmm.
of course, being a speaker on that, kind of like helped me to get more ideas of my own. I'm like, oh, maybe I could do this. And then last but not least, well, that was actually the first. Well, this actually happened first, that I got accepted to be a speaker at her in person conference. Well, she calls it a cookout because if you know African American people of color, we love to eat.
We
Okay, so
do. And
um,
and it starts
so
off with a cookout too. Like,
pretty much,
I was like, oh my gosh, they have
yeah,
potato salad and everything. This is
yeah.
great.
Yep, hide off someplace, go someplace we can all just kind of get together. But yeah, so then she, allowed me the opportunity to speak in person, and that was a great experience. Well, because we had finally met in person. Some people knew her from the first conference, but then I think I knew about it, but head down into being married, so I was like,
Hmm.
oh, I should be there. And then I finally got to go. So I think shout out to her for speaking up for not just Black women but Black men as well, especially in the photography industry, where a lot of our idols before 2020, or before the early 2015, were Caucasian, or Hispanic. We look
Right.
up to them, or even European, New Zealand, right? So we're like,
Right.
we admire people from everywhere else, but who can we admire right here in our own community? So shout
Hmm.
out to her. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Major shout out to her. Um, just from a business perspective, just, being able to connect people of like minds and build off of this sense of community. Like, I really feel like y'all are my cousins, and I already got a lot of them. But I'm like, I don't mind these folks. Listen, we all like to take pictures. We all like pretty stuff. We might take pictures of different things, but we create some amazing things. And so major shout out to her. We're also that was the other thing. We're also alumni from the Cornell Women's Entrepreneurship. Extra
Program.
words
Yes,
there.
yes, yes.
Wait, what is the name of this thing we got? We
Yeah,
got something we know about women's entrepreneurship.
yes. Cornell University, the Cornell University. I mean,
Yes.
technically, we should be tooting our own horn because that is,
Toot, toot.
Ivy League, right? So,
Yes.
um, yeah, again, the power of social media. I think I found out about it 2019
Mhm.
because it had such a big wait list and long wait list. But
Yeah.
actually, what I found out though when I was looking in my like curriculum that they opened it up sooner because I was supposed to take it in 2021, and so I finished. I ended up taking it summer 2020, and well, it took me 6 months because they spaced it out. Like you get
Mhm.
2 weeks here, take a break, 2 weeks here, take a break. But it was a certification program and it was amazing. Like for me, it was reiteration because I've been, in business for 10 years. So it was great reiteration. And again, in community, like look how many of us
Right.
didn't know that we're also in the same program. And
Mhm.
so yeah, that's the power of sisterhood because I think the purpose also was they had a lot of courses about the minority woman, how we are the next generation of business owners. So
Right.
yeah.
So that's awesome. All of these connections. And speaking of connections, how do we connect with you?
Yes. So you can find out more about my book and my podcast and how you can start one too by going to seelifedifferent.com. But I am also everywhere. My personal brand is at Illuminous One. So that's the meaning of my middle name. So Zaakirah Nayyar. And you can find, well, actually go to zakirahnayyar.com and then, you'll learn from me from there of how I can help you to grow your brand and step outside of your own comfort zone and master your marketing through either done for you services or done with you, like a consultation. And then, of course, follow me on social media. I'm like, catch me if you can, because something's always changing. I think that's the thing about, you know, never staying stagnant. Something's always changing. So definitely check me out through my website and go to social media and see life different. You can find my book there, or I think I have my book there.
Yes, let's see it.
Yep, or it's also available on Amazon. But of course, support your independent authors by purchasing directly because
Yes.
Amazon loves to play games. So, seeing life through different lens is on my website as well.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Zakira, for being here. I'm saying your name right, right? I just keep
Yeah,
calling your
yeah,
name, hoping
oh
it's right.
yeah,
Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you being here. And thank you all for tuning in and hanging out with us. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We've got more great stories coming ahead. And until next time, you guys have an amazing day. Bye.